Hello, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Faith Building Fridays. I've got my goats outside and they might be hollering, so I apologize. Today I want to talk about listening to God. A lot of times in the past, like in the recent past, I would pray something like, please guide me and direct me, make my path clear, things like that. And I know that sounds good, and it especially did to me, but then I realized something is that what I believe is that God is always trying to direct us. He is always trying to make our path clear, and He is always doing His part. And it is it's our job to just listen and obey. And so my prayer has since changed and I think that comes along with a faith walk, knowing that He's doing those things. And then on my part, I am saying, help me to see the path that you have set before me and help me to walk in it. Help me to, you've already done your part. Now I'm praying that I would do my part, give me eyes to see and ears to hear. So I'm going to share with you a story about my dad. And if you're a family member watching or a close friend, you have already heard this story, I'm sure. But as a child, this was one of my favorite stories, and it definitely helped to build my faith. So my dad was a big hunter. He loved hunting. He was hunting ever since, hunting, fishing ever since it was possible to do it. So he was very much into it. It was one of his favorite hobbies. It probably still is his favorite hobby. But as his family was, kind of growing, or not growing, but we were in the stage of high school, we were middle schoolers, high schoolers. His main thing was hunting. That was his, main hobby. That's what he wanted to do all the time. And so for whatever reason, I'm not sure, I did not talk to him before I'm doing this, so I haven't gone a refresher, but according to my memory, what happened was that something was kind of bothering him about the situation, and I think he started having these dreams where he would be hunting and he would kill something, and all of a sudden it would turn into a person. He shoots it from a distance, he goes up to it, and it would be a person. And of course, that really disturbed him, and he started questioning whether or not he should be hunting. He thought that God was trying to tell him, I want you to stop hunting. And of course, he was like, no, that's crazy. So, I'm pretty sure he would try and make little deals with God, putting out the fleece, like Gideon, and say, okay, God, if you want me to stop hunting, then have this happen. And I want to say in those instances it would happen, but how many times do we do that and be like, oh, it's coincidence. So I'm pretty sure he had a lot of coincidences happen. And I think one day he had a dream that he had killed a deer, and he went up to it, and it was my mom. And of course, in your dreams, it's real. So that really disturbed him. And he woke up, and he was really bothered by that. So finally, what happened is we all went hunting as a family. I think we went pheasant hunting. And he had the camera. We were taking pictures. We were hunting and doing all these things. And we're done hunting. We go back to the truck, and he notices that he doesn't have the camera, and he says to my mom, hey, I dropped the camera. I'll go back and I'll find it. And of course, he wanted to go back because he had one more bird that he could have gotten. He didn't get his limit. So he's like, I'll go back. You take the kids. I'll go back, get the camera, aka get my other bird. So, and when he started back, he's like, I am not going to find that camera. There's no way I'm going to find that camera. Because when you're hunting, you're going through high grass and brush and all this kind of stuff. He just knew there was no way he was going to find that camera. So he said, God, if you want me to stop hunting, then let me find that camera. So he starts off. He's going. And all of a sudden, he comes upon the camera on this perfect little mound of dirt. And there it is, perfectly laid. In my imagination, I just imagined it with a bow on it. And he's like, no way. No way. That's just coincidence, just coincidence. He picks up the camera and he takes a step to go. And he says in his mind, this is just a coincidence. And all of a sudden, lightning strikes from the sky. And then he's like, now you have to remember, in this scenario, he's talking to God in his mind, right? So God is on his mind and he's having this mental conversation. So he tells God, no, that's not what you're trying to tell me. And all of a sudden, lightning strikes. And God's like, actually, it is what I'm trying to tell you. And then my dad's like, okay. I could see it was going to rain. I could see the clouds. I could see it was starting to rain. That is also a coincidence. God, I also don't think you're trying to talk to me. And all of a sudden, it starts to hail. And God's like, actually, I am trying to talk to you, and you're not going anywhere until you hear me. So it is hailing now, and my dad cannot move. He cannot take a step forward. He has never been in hail like that. And it was clear to him that God was not going to let him go home until he heard him. And so finally my dad says, okay, God, I get it. You want me to stop hunting. I will stop. And as soon as he made that conscious choice, the hail stopped. It turned into a light drizzle. And he went back to the truck and he came home and he told us this story. And for me, hearing that story, I was like, what? No way. No way did that happen. Like God was actually like, he was like talking to you and he was going to make you listen to him. And to me, it was like this love that God loved you so much that he was like trying to be so clear to you. And so some of you might say, whoa, God was forcing his hand on him. No, he wasn't, because God knew my dad's heart. God knew that my dad wanted to listen to him, because he could have never had that conversation with him. But God knew my dad wanted to hear him, and he just had to talk really, really loud. And although my dad didn't want to stop hunting, clearly, he trusted God enough to know that if God really wanted him to stop, my dad was willing. So needless to say, the next day we went to church. They asked him to be the youth leader. And that would have been the class that I was in, my sister was in, possibly my brother at the time. But they asked him to be the youth leader. And let me tell you, if he would have been hunting, he would have said no, because we go hunting on the weekends. So whether a hunting trip or something like that. So God wanted him to teach the youth. And he taught the youth for 15 years or more or something like that. So is it wrong to hunt? No, he hunts now because he's no longer doing that. And he no longer has the obsession that he had back in the day. So basically after, I don't think he hunted for 15 or 16 years. And finally he was like, you know what? God wanted me to do that for a season. And now that season is over. So I'm going to start hunting. And we were all like, whoa, whoa, what are you doing, Dad? But I think he understood why God asked him to do that. So my family hunts, like they've been hunters for forever, and now my husband hunts, and so they all enjoy that together. And my dad enjoyed hunting with my brother. You know, my brother was at the age that he could get into it, and so it was really cool. But here's the deal, is that God is always trying to talk to us, and it's up to us to be willing to listen. So I would encourage you, if you're praying those prayers, God, please guide me, please direct me, please do all these things, I want to encourage you, and I hope that you hear that he is guiding you, and he is directing you, and he is chasing you all the time. He wants you so bad. It's us that need to listen and hear him. And so I hope this builds your faith. I thank you so much for watching and listening, and I hope you are encouraged. Ciao, ciao.